Hey, Carla, good morning. You're the first one here. Hey, more people. Hey, I see it all. Okay, you guys, little announcement here. Evidently, somebody thinks it's cool to be messing with our channel. So, YouTube is currently reviewing my reply to not being able to access the actual channel. And let me tell you something, it's pretty disappointing to think that 2.5 years after the case of Christopher Watts first hit the headlines, that there's still people trying to dink around with my channel. So if you want, you can hop on over to the Miss Mensa channel and subscribe there, because I would say probably within a day or two, we won't be able to find the Lady Justice channel. And to that I say, if any of you are still interested in watching any of the channels who we know are involved with trying to harm other people, well, I would rethink that seriously. I see it all says people hate the truth. I think they have so much hate going on. I think they also hate the thought that somebody else is making money, because that was the accusation that I listened to all day Monday, getting yelled at, claiming that I'm monetized and making all sorts of money. Yes, Carla, Miss Mensa. And I used the same photo so you guys can find it. I'm truly disgusted because the people who were yelling on Monday for hours refused to hear a word that I said when they were yelling at me that I was making money. I have not been making any money on this YouTube channel at all. But, you know, when people are yelling, their ears aren't open. Yes, Lee. Yeah, don't talk about the GoFundMes. Don't talk about their PayPals. Yeah, don't talk about whatever their motives are for wanting to run around and try to dink around with other people's channels. Brown Eyed Girl, if you just got here, you're going to want to subscribe to Miss Mensa on YouTube, or head on over to BitChute if you want. On BitChute, it's also Miss Mensa, because probably by the time you get out of work, this channel will be gone. Either that or YouTube will let the videos sit up there, you know, so they can use the videos for whatever. But There are a couple of people who are really pissed at me right now, and they're absolutely insisting that I'm making money on the channel. They're wrong, but they're busy convincing each other that I'm making a ton of money. Carla asks a very good question. If they're so convinced that he won't get into court, really, then why are they so scared? Well, it's been 2.5 years of people dinking around like this. And actually, they've done a really good job in the last few weeks, haven't they? Lee, you are correct, but the people yelling at me claiming that I'm making money and evidently offended by that, which I'm not, but they're offended by it just the same. I tried to bring that up, but I don't think they heard me. I said, I say it all the time, don't super chat. To which they responded with, well, your super chat is on. I see it. It's working. Well, it shouldn't be because I found a little thingy to turn it off, but I guess the truth doesn't matter. I'll see if I can link it maybe. Maybe I can link it here. See if this link works. I don't know if it will or not. Oh, wait. That's probably not going to work. Let me see if I can find it because that's a super long link that I just pasted. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. I should be able to. Hold on just 1 second. I'm trying to get into the account and see because I think they have a thing to click on for the public view or something. Go to dashboard maybe? I don't know. I don't know. On BitChute, it has a little tab to find the public view, but I don't see it on this one. Let's see here. Well, let me try this one and see if this works. Maybe this one will get you here. See if that link, somebody, if you don't mind, try that link and see if it works. Oh, wait, it's not going up there. Hold on, there it is. If you don't mind, will someone click on that link and see if you can find it that way? Good job, Kathy Joe. I didn't know that. Okay, let's try that one. Yep, there it is. Good job, Kathy Joe. Okay, so ignore that other link. Here's the good one. Okay, this last link that I just posted, that one should get you there. I just tried to delete the previous link and I almost blocked myself. Good thinking, Kathy Joe. Yeah, so if you don't find me here, you'll find me there. But of course, no doubt they'll hop on over to that one and go, oh, she might make money someday. We better do something. It's really unfortunate, too, because there are a couple of videos, more than a couple, that I think it's really important for people to be able to watch, you know? Well, the problem, Dark Chocolate, is that I answered the question honestly. No, I'm not making any money on it. So, of course, it's a matter of, oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. I can see that you're making money on it. Okay, well, they can't, but they're convincing themselves they can. And then voila, the next day, I'm notified by YouTube. Interesting. Kathy Joe says, that was my useful moment for the day. There, you had a purpose-filled day, Kathy Joe. You are such a purpose-driven woman. Lee, it's all part of the paradigm. It's all part of the paradigm that's been going on for 2.5 years. People buddy up and say, ooh, I'm your friend. And then you find out. Jay, I'm not surprised either. It's been going on for 2.5 years. And I guess, the big deal is supposed to be that I'm supposed to be in tears because I'm losing thousands of dollars or something. But the fact that I don't have tears about it pretty much should prove that I'm not raking in, big bucks off the case of Christopher Watts. It's just ridiculous though, because especially like those videos of Cindy Watts, you know, they've had a lot of views, so they get viewed more, right? They're more accessible to viewers because the more views a video has, then the more likely they are to appear in the viewer's feed, right? So it's really sad. So my take on it is that whoever is playing with YouTube right now, trying to get the channel shut down, they probably don't really care about the information being able to be viewed by people. But if you notice on a lot of the channels, they pretty much don't care about the case. They care about, trying to act like they know about the case, but not about discussing the case itself, for sure. If by chance this channel's down and then you can't get to the other one either, then I'm over on BitChute. I've been over on BitChute ever since this crap started. And at some point, I'll figure out, however, to do some kind of, I don't know what you call it, where it's just from a website instead of on one of these platforms. Because this stuff is just so ridiculous. So, do you guys want to take a look at a super old video? It doesn't have any words, it's just a slideshow. It's called In Her Own Words. And I just throw in a few of the quotes that Christopher Watts posted, a few of her own statements on Facebook. If you want, we can take a look at that quick and discuss it. I think that'd be kind of interesting. It's one of the old vintage Mensa videos. And it's really funny for me to see it because it's like I had no clue what I was doing making videos. I don't think I knew how to take screenshots when I made this particular video. I'll go ahead and put it up on the thingamajiggy. Oops, I think I will. Here it comes. It's buffering. Oh, it's already running. Hold on here. It's running without us. I'll go back to the beginning. Take a look at this. Oops, there. Take a look at that. Look at that artistic, detail. Oh man, I probably thought I was cool to slant everything and line it up just right. So this, I'm guessing, was probably back in 2018 when I posted this. I don't know. Although in 2018 I was using purple background. This might have been in early 2019 when I found a cooler looking background. Okay, here we go. Quote, this is Christopher Watt's wife posting, okay? Oh, it's buffering. Quote, some understand, and some think I am being paranoid. This had to do with the nut meltdown. Christopher Watt's wife said, quote, I gave a list of pre-approved foods. She got none of them. Okay, let's hold up just a minute. I gave a list of pre-approved foods? Really? So evidently it's her decision what foods her mother-in-law is allowed to have house. And then the clincher is she said, quote, she got none of them. That isn't true because Cindy Watts took her daughter-in-law on a little shopping spree and spent $375 while her daughter-in-law put whatever she wanted in the carts. And that's plural, in the carts. Okay? Including, according to Cindy, Benadryl and Tylenol too. Quote, I'm beyond furious, and she's telling me I'm overreacting when my child's life is at risk. Does anybody believe that Cece's life was at risk at her Mimi's house? So she's beyond furious. I agree with that. And she says that Cindy told her she was overreacting. I believe Cindy did tell her she was overreacting, and I think she was acting. I agree with you, Jay. Jay said if SW really had any money, she never would have let the in-laws pay for that. I agree with that. I also think she would have had a rental car instead of needing to be everywhere. But oh wait, maybe not, right? She also posted a capital letter FU to her mother-in-law on social media. So for the people who say Cindy didn't even go to the birthday party, I don't know. Just saying what she's supposed to do. Walk in the door and say, hi, we know we're not welcome here, just like we weren't welcome at the wedding, but we've decided to come here anyway and to see what else might be your mom. Christopher Watt's wife said, and I quote, My heart is still racing 30 minutes later and tears of anger. Okay, look at that. 30 minutes. 30 minutes of crying, 30 minutes with her heart racing, 30 minutes of anger, right? And remember that Cindy grabbed the kids and ran the hell out of there. She got out of there fast because she said the kids were afraid. And she was afraid too. She hightailed it out that door with the children and waited a little bit and came back in, and she was still angry. 30 minutes later, she says it herself. I'll say it again. Quote, my heart is still racing 30 minutes later, and tears of anger. She also says on that post that she is not coming back. Oh, I'm not coming back. And then she refers to the world as being evil. She says, quote, the world of evil, the world of hate, the world of bullying. Isn't that interesting? Do you think that Christopher Watt's wife was ever bullied? Or do you, like me, think that she was actually bullying her mother-in-law? I'll take a look at the comments quick. Jay says, CW said in the interrogation that Cece only choked when she swallowed too fast. Lee said, when we visit family in Florida, we get a rental car and buy groceries or take turns ordering takeout. Jay says that CW said he never saw any sign of anaphylaxis. Dark Chocolate says it's ironic that SW's family is making money she dreamed to make all her life. Jay says SW needed a reason to isolate her husband from his family. Lee says, Dark Chocolate, I'm still waiting, looking for updates on this attorney trip to the UK the last GoFundMe was supposed to pay for. Carla says, you are breaking up, MM. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think every time it buffers probably too. I don't know what to tell you. How is it right now? Can you hear me now? Is it any better now, or is it still breaking up? The next slide says that when Jay says, just sounds like you are auto-tuned. I don't know what that means. Carla says, I think it happens when you show a picture. Well, let's do this. I'll remove this. Okay. Can you hear me better now? Is it better when I don't have a thingy up there on the panel? Okay. Then what I'll do is I'll look at the thing myself somehow. Let's see. I'll pull it up myself on my own computer. Let's see here. Okay. So the last one was when Christopher Watts asked his wife for permission, and seriously, let that sink in. He was asking for permission to take Bella and Cece with him to see his parents, you know, that last night he was there, and she said no with a capital N-O. Now we switch subjects here to the issue of whether or not she was a stay-at-home mom. She says, I have no kids at home, so I'm winning. It's so much better without the kids here. I don't know about you, but if I saw somebody posting it's so much better without the kids here, it'd be kind of like, really? The kids aren't there, so she says she's winning. Jay says a little wonky, but can understand you. Well, if the reception or the transmission or whatever, I don't know, is that bad, maybe we should just try it a little bit later. Yes, dark chocolate, she said, over my dead body. You are correct. So while both kids are in daycare, she's like, I have no kids at home, so I'm winning. Which I don't know, I found that kind of interesting. And then I posted the photo where they asked for a nap that we talked about yesterday. And then here's a photo. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put this one up. Let's see if I know what I'm doing here. I won't talk. I'm just going to show you a couple of photos. There, how is the audio now? Can you hear me okay? Jay says there are a lot of crappy and neglectful parents, but people are offended by the hypocrisy of SW and her perfect mother image. That's exactly right. You know, the retired nurse that quit her job, or I'm sorry, the retired nurse who retired early so she could be a stay-at-home mom. And then we learned that both kids were in daycare full time. It's like, oh, really? But, some of those quotes, you can't even find them now if you search for information on this case. And that's what's really sad about somebody trying to mess with the channel, because there's a lot of good information on those videos that people simply won't find if they succeed at taking the channel down. I'll tell you what I should do. Seriously, I should focus some good energy on writing a kick butt book, and I should actually make some money off of this stupid case so that the people who are trying to hate on me saying, oh, you're monetized, can go, shit, she just made a ton of money on that book. I guess we shouldn't have motivated her to do so. But did you see those quotes? I mean, she's putting it right on social media saying that she can't do this. She said, I can't do this. I can't have 3 kids in Colorado. And what was all this stuff about talking with her friends about them moving in? Are you kidding me? Who was going to make the house payment? Because if all they had going on between them was a bunch of MLM incomes, I guess she expected that Christopher Watts would still be funding her habit. Kay Cooper, I agree with you completely. If the genders were reversed in this case, they would have absolutely called CW the worst. What? I don't agree with you. Oh, I get it. You're saying if it was reversed, if CW was the one saying, no, you can't take the kids with you, if CW was the one not making the house payments, and if CW was the one saying that your mother's evil and your father's stupid, no, you can't take your friend to the airport because you haven't finished cleaning the basement yet, right? There would absolutely be a movement with people screaming for her to be released from prison, right? Everybody would be like, oh, the poor dear, look at how he treated her. Carla says, I hope you do become stinking rich. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should just say, okay, assholes, you want to sit there and bitch for hours and hours and hours, calling me a liar. And when I said, well, haven't you heard every single video, every single live chat, I say, don't do super chat. No, haven't heard that. Nope. Just call Mensa a liar. That's a lot easier. To heck with all the videos that have good information on the case, right? Exactly. Just imagine Jay's going with the same theme here that Kay Cooper was going with. Just imagine, put your neutral lens, your gender neutral lens on, and imagine if Christopher Watts said, no, you're not taking the girls to see your parents. What would everyone be saying? Well, he was a bastard. Boy, he was a controller. He was an abuser, right? You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's obvious too. That's the thing. You don't really have to do, the mental gymnastics to get to that point. It's pretty damn obvious. If he made a video saying, my wife's a dummy, my wife's a loser, right? The kids are monsters. I'm winning. I don't have any kids here. If he made videos like that, he'd be the biggest badass, right? Every woman in the country would be going, and man, man or woman would be going, oh, he's an abuser. If she didn't have a clue how much money they had, how much, how many bills they had, let's just say that he was in charge of the finances, which he should have been because he was the one who was actually able to handle finances back before he met her. And let's just say that he didn't pay the house payment for 3 months and she had to take 10 grand from her 401k, which I highly doubt she ever had a 401k. But, hypothetically speaking, how many people would be going, well, that's bullshit. Like, he sits on his ass all day. He doesn't work. He doesn't do a damn thing. He convinces his wife that he's making money when he isn't. He's stockpiling products. Okay, let's just say he was a Snap-on tool representative and he had a basement full or probably a garage full of Snap-on tools. Knowing full well that he'll sell them someday, right? And let's just say that she went off to work every day, that the kids went off to daycare every day. Well, he enjoyed his Snap-on tool hobby. Nothing against Snap-on tools. Just trying to make a point here. And then she gets out of work, she goes home, she hops in the car, goes up to the daycare center, picks up the kids, comes back home, feeds the kids, gives them their baths, does the laundry, cleans the house. Well, he's doing what? Right? And then he says, hey, you know what? Your mother's evil. Your father's stupid. Right? I think the entire true crime community, drama corner and all, would be saying, not guilty. Jay says, isolating her from any support. Exactly. People would be discussing the case. They'd be pointing at the fact, okay, because roles are reversed here. He says to his wife, we're moving far away from your family. Okay, quit the job I know you love, right? I want you to work a different job. Okay, gaslighting her every step of the way, telling her that she has some kind of cancer, that he saved her life, right? Because he detected it early, telling her that she has carpal tunnel and she can no longer do the job she loves. I mean, it's just every step of the way, every step of the way. If you reverse the roles, it's glaringly obvious. So that's not really a cool thing for our society, right? If we're so blinded by gender that we're not able to say this clearly, regardless of which gender was treating the other spouse that way. We are so blinded as a society by gender, by the roles, right? That when we see evidence of the bullshit, then what's the excuse? Oh, she was a strong woman and he was a doormat, right? Well, do you think anybody would be calling the woman a doormat if she was being mistreated? Kay Cooper says it's completely obvious. Others just choose not to see it because these people see themselves in SW and refuse to comprehend they're screwed up too. I think it's really daunting to see some of the comments that are posted saying, oh, she was such a loving mother and she was just so protective of the girls. And, she was just frustrated because she had to deal with a doormat husband. It's like, what? Really? Or the ones who say that Christopher Watts, you know, was so frustrating for her because he was just waiting for her to tell him what to do. Really? I don't remember any case ever where anybody said, ah, that poor guy. He was just frustrated with his dopey wife because she was, just waiting for him to tell her what to do. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that, DG. It's joke time on the Mensa channel. I may be fat. I identify as slender. Therefore, I'm trans slender. That's a good one. Exactly, Jay. It was as if she was somehow burdened with him, right? And all this crap about how she was so successful when she met him and he was a loser. I don't think so. I think she was desperate to find somebody to pay for her house payment. I think that's exactly what happened. Because remember, she bought the house in December of 2009, right? With, what was it, less than 5% down. Contrary to popular belief, I highly doubt she ever swung a hammer or even knew how. 1 month later, she was named as a defendant in a lawsuit. Her name was dropped from the suit later on, but 1 month after buying the house, she was named as a defendant. Now, here's my hunch on why she was named, because I think she was trutzing around saying she was part owner. Because we've heard that over and over again, too, that she was part owner in that, like, auto wheel tire something shop she worked at. So if the plaintiff in that case heard her say that she was part owner, then that would make sense why he would have included her in the lawsuit, right? And I think the reason she was probably released from the lawsuit, probably the reason, was because they found out she wasn't actually part owner. Jay said hard to hammer with a debilitating lupus. Well, she claimed that she was diagnosed actually 6 months after she put 5% down on the house. The same week, in fact, that her idol, Lady Gaga, was on the talk shows talking about lupus during Lupus Awareness Month. And remember what the friend said who was interviewed, that all she had to do was see something on television. So if you think about it, when she met him, let's see, we don't know if she graduated from high school. We know she didn't do any kind of post high school education, right? Christopher Watts graduated from high school and then he immediately got his own place and he started with the NASCAR training, whatever. He wanted to become a NASCAR trained certified master mechanic. And that's what he did. And he had a job that he loved. And he had 12 or 13 grand in his savings account. He had an excellent credit rating and history. He knew how to work. And that's something that I don't think she did. I don't think she knew how. And, he had a bunch of friends. He had dated a couple of different women. He wasn't stuck to his mommy and daddy's side at all. He had lived on his own already when he met her for 7 years. On his own, okay? He didn't have any dependency or codependency or whatever, intro, whatever dependency going on at all. He was an independent young man who was making his own way. And they try to say he was insecure and all that crap. Excuse me, I don't think so. And here's the thing, I think the clincher, he was honest. He was an honest person. But what's the very first thing that they did when he introduced his parents to his new girlfriend? She wanted him to lie to his parents and tell them she was really 40 years old. And you guys know that she quit her job shortly after meeting him, right? She quit her job. Who does that when you have a mortgage as huge as her mortgage was? She meets this guy and she quits the job. Are you kidding? And then a couple of months later, she put an ad supposedly on care.com and babysat for one child. Ooh, yeah, that's going to make the mortgage payment. Allegedly with Brittany. People always say she made CW better, but when you think about it, she made him quit his job where he was making great money and made him sell his car and ultimately destroyed his credit. Right. I don't know how on earth she made him better at all. And remember, they're also saying that he was fat and out of shape and all this other crap because there are a lot of lies going around, with people talking about the case. He wasn't fat, he was fit. According to Cindy, she was the one who was heavy. He was going to the gym every day. He was absolutely fit. But if you listen to the people who want to slant it, the whole story, it's like, oh, he was out of shape. She was always so fit. No, she wasn't. So yeah, the whole narrative, the entire false narrative is just disgusting. But we were talking about reversing the roles. The entire relationship, right from the start, showed so many different signs. Just imagine, okay, let's say that the husband was the abuser, okay, and that the wife was the poor victim, right? So the wedding's coming up. They fly back from Colorado. And let's just say that the husband gets pissed at his future wife's brother and cousin. And let's say that, they had a niece and nephew too. And the husband insists that her family gets fired from the bridal party. Think about that. Seriously, think about that. What would everybody be saying? That he was an abuser, and it was obvious by the way he acted about that wedding, right? But because he's the man, oh, well, she was evidently, I guess it's okay to be bridezilla. I guess that's okay. I guess that's socially acceptable now, right? Because she was probably just, wanting everything to be perfect or something, right? Or no, wait, it was his sister's fault, right? Yes, I do agree with that. I think she was very insecure and did not want him to be running in. What I was told is that she didn't want him running into any of his ex-girlfriends. Jay answered, I would assume he was beating her and they were hiding it. Exactly. If there's that much of an effort to exclude the other side of the family, then what are they hiding? I don't know. Here's another little detail that I've never heard anybody discuss. But well, we discussed it a couple of times, but did you see how his suit, how his tux was not tailored at all to meet his measurements? Like that tux was off the rack, I think, by the looks of it. And I know that that's a minor detail and it doesn't really matter and whatever, but it does matter. When you take a look at the dress that she wore, especially when that was not her first wedding, how much do you think you know, I was going to say she paid, but he actually paid for the dress, right? Because that's what people are saying is that not only did she want him to pay for the dress, but she also told him that she needed another $600 for alterations. I'm sorry, if you're paying the seamstress $600, she better be making the entire dress. Jay, do you think that it was fitted to her silhouette? I don't think so. But I do think that she probably, I don't know, maybe she didn't. Maybe she bought it off the rack and I'm just falling for more of the bullshit because maybe she just bought it off the rack for a couple $100 and then told him she needed a couple thousand for the dress and then another 600 for the seamstress, right? Exactly. $600 worth of tailoring. Yeah, okay. Yeah. We're stupid. Yes, it was. And maybe that's what happened. I mean, maybe we are all somewhat gullible to this information that we're being told, right? Oh, the dress was so expensive. And then the alterations were so expensive, right? Maybe not. Maybe she told him she needed a couple of $1,000 or $3,500 or who knows what. And maybe she literally went to the bridal shop and found one that would work for a couple hundred. Maybe that's how she paid her house payment that month. I don't know. I mean, I don't like sounding so cynical, but why was his tux the $50 special? This just reminded me of something. I'm going to flip flop to a whole different topic here, but it's the same topic, so come along with me. The interview, right? I'm doing air quotes. The interview recently. I can't remember what that dress cost. Oh, what was it? If any of you know, let me know. I'm going to try to Google quick and see if I can find it. But it was some insane number. Let's see. I'll Google Megan's dress cost interview. Yep, the dress cost $5,000. $5,000 for that dress. And it looked to me like Harry was wearing like the same suit that he wears every time he's in front of a camera. $5,000 for that dress? Wait a minute. Wait just a minute. What's all this about, carbon footprint and all that, right? That's right up there with talking about our carbon footprint and then hopping on a jet for the baby shower. But it just reminded me of that when talking about the wedding dress and the poorly fitted or not fitted at all tux. It's the same thing. It's like, what's that about? Like, how could anybody even? I don't know. It's just I don't know if you get a connection or not, but it's like the me. Well, the equal partner, the spouse, the equal rights, all of that sits there with zero vanity at all. Oh, is Kathy starting her day? Gotta go sit in traffic because not everyone can be a highly successful stay-at-home mom with a huge social media following. Everyone have a great day. Be safe, Kathy Joe. And you forgot to add making thousands of dollars on our YouTube channel. Oh my goodness. Allegedly with Brittany says, why were there absolutely no pictures of the kids around the house? The only photo of a child I see is the cartoon. There are pictures, Brittany, when Cindy and Ronnie would visit. Cindy would always get the kids outside. So there are some pictures when their grandparents visited. But you're right. There seems to be a glaring absence of any pictures of just the parents and the kids. It is exhausting. It is. I remember back when this case was being discussed back in 2018, the end of 2018. Like, seriously, people were still believing that she was a retired nurse who retired in order to become a stay-at-home mom. And boy, when I said, wait a minute, you guys, the kids were in daycare full time, it's like, boy, I was the bad guy. I was bashing a dead woman to say that. Jax is saying that she's in an abusive relationship and she's going to try to leave today. Jax, you should not be posting this kind of thing on social media or anywhere. And you should definitely be calling for help today before you try to do anything. You should be trying to call for help. I don't know where you live, and don't tell me where you live, but wherever you live, there is help available. You can find the number, be in a safe space to call a number and tell them what you're dealing with. And if you can't find a number to call, then call the police. They have every number that you need in order to find the help that you need so that you can actually leave safely. If you don't know who to call for help, Jax, then call the police and they can give you the phone numbers to the area resources. Tell the police what's going on and they can help you. They have all the phone numbers you need to find the help that you need. Leaving an abusive relationship is very dangerous if you don't have a safety plan. So you need to call for help. And you definitely should not be posting this stuff on social media. In fact, you shouldn't be on social media. You should be calling the police and asking them to please give you the phone number of the women's shelter, the women's counseling center, the family center, whatever they call it in your area. Tell them exactly what you've said here. Tell them you're in an abusive relationship, that you want to leave the abusive relationship, but you need help because you need help. The most dangerous moment of an abusive relationship is when the abuser realizes they are about to lose total control over their victim. So this isn't something that you should be talking about on social media, number one. It's something that you should be focused on your safety first and foremost. Definitely call the police and tell them exactly what you've said here. There is help available. Kathy Joe, you're right. Kathy Joe is saying, Jax, do not make your plans known. That is when it's the most dangerous. Jack says he is emotionally abusing me. I have a baby. I'm scared of COVID. Jax, there is help available. Call the police. Tell them that you need to be able to speak with someone who can help you create a safety plan. Okay? You need a safety plan. And they may be able to offer you some counseling. They may be able to offer you some support. You know, they may be able to connect you up with other people in the same situation. They may have like a group that meets once a week or something where you can learn from other people, learn from people who have been in the same situation. But social media is not where you should be getting any help, okay? Social media is not the place for you right now. You need to secure your position, all right? You need to have safety and security. That's more important than social media. So get your butt out of here and use your phone to call the police and simply say exactly what your comment says, that you're in a relationship, he is emotionally abusing you, you have a baby, you're scared of COVID. Let the police know what your concerns are. They have a list of phone numbers of agencies that can help you. And the help isn't like 2 weeks away or anything. The help is immediate. They have people available 24/7 who can help you. Okay? Social media is not the place to be, dear. Okay, Jax, I'm going to do something. It's a little bit like tough love, and I don't want you to feel at all hurt by this. But I see that people are starting to try to give you advice and that you're kind of going into different directions and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and block you temporarily because this isn't where you should be discussing this. You really need to call the police and tell them that you need help, okay? They can put you in the right point you in the right direction. They can give you phone numbers. So when it's safe to do so, then you should be calling the police and asking for those phone numbers so that you can get the help that you need, because the help that you need is not on YouTube, dear. So I'm blocking you, but I'm blocking you with love, okay? So please know that. So for all of you in chat who think that I'm mean for blocking Jax, I'm sorry. I'm not being mean, because we're not doing anybody any favors to sit here and, you know, help her. Actually, if we're going to engage in this, then we're helping her sit on YouTube talking about it instead of calling for help. So let's flip on back to that wedding dress, okay? Something else that you guys might not know is that when this case first came out, the first few months of discussion, there was no mention, as far as I can remember, there was no mention in the discussion groups about any previous weddings at all. That whole wedding picture and everything, it was all put out there as if they had like the storybook romance, right? I'm surprised they didn't say high school sweethearts like they do with the Darlie Routier case. They always say high school sweethearts. And when you think of high school sweethearts, you think of like the, captain of the football team dating the homecoming queen, right? Those are high school sweethearts, right? Every class has them, right? Darlie volunteer did meet her husband when she was still in high school. That is true. But he wasn't in high school. So whenever they say, oh, they were high school sweethearts, it's like, not exactly. But anyway, they didn't say high school sweethearts with Christopher Watson, his wife, but they made it appear as if they met and they, had their virgin wedding, right? It wasn't until a few months later, really, that people in the discussion groups were going, wait a minute, that wasn't her first marriage. What the heck? And the whole time it was really disingenuous, I guess, is what I would say with how that was presented. I mean, and nobody cared. It didn't matter, whatever. But the storyline was pretty much that, that wedding was their first wedding. That's just more of the same BS, right? We've spent so much time in the last 2.5 months, listen to me, 2.5 years. We've spent so much time just trying to figure out what the truth even is for the stuff that doesn't even matter, right? You see what I mean? It's like, I mean, okay, if you're not ashamed of that previous wedding, then why try to hide it, right? If you're not ashamed of that, then why try to pretend that it wasn't there? I'm glad you guys are posting that because seriously, I felt kind of like, I shouldn't do, I mean, well, I didn't think I shouldn't. I knew I should, but I felt like, oh, people are probably not gonna see what I'm saying. But to say those things on social media is really dangerous. And then for people, I mean, I know everyone's a caring, kind person trying to help, but we simply cannot on this platform offer any help. You know what I'm saying? Right, Jay, exactly. It's just like the media narrative. Exactly. The fairy tale romance. It wasn't a fairy tale romance for Pete's sake. Come off it. What, 25 and 26 years old, supposedly, right? That's what she claimed at the time she was 26. Who knows? Because a lot of people think she was older. I don't know. I I see, the situation where Cindy Watts said so. She's been married before. I think any mother would have that exact thought. Like, really? At age 26 already? Yikes. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a perfect marriage. It wasn't a fairy tale. It wasn't. And then, yes, the successful MLMer. Hello. We can all Google the FTC statistics, right? At 99, I think in 2018, it was 99.6% of all MLMers fail to ever see a penny of profit, right? I think it was 2019, maybe it was 2020, the chances were even less of ever seeing a penny of profit. Now it's 99.9% of people who are taking part in the product-based MLMs are not seeing any profit. Alexis points out that there weren't any pictures of the children around the house besides one in the bedroom. I know it. It really seemed weird, didn't it? It seemed very weird. Okay, Brenda popped in here to tell us something. Go ahead, Brenda. Brenda said, have you heard the news or something like that? I'm scrolling up to see what you said. I can't see it now, but it was something like, have you heard the news? And then I see other people are saying, tell us, Brenda. Oh, guess you heard the news, MM. No, Brenda, what's the news? Izzy says, good morning, BOBs. Sharon says, hiya. Brenda says, Cindy is the lead board of director of Honest Thing. You're not kidding, are you? Oh, I've been getting emails from people telling me that supposedly Jay's going to be making $100,000 a year and that Jamie's going to do weekly podcasts. That's what people are emailing me saying. So my next question is, do you believe it? Allegedly with Brittany says, as much as SW posted on Facebook, it would only be fitting to see pictures in every single room of the house of the kids, but there are hardly any at all. Brenda says it's on their site. I'm sorry. Okay, so for the people who are emailing me telling me that Jay's going to be making $100,000 a year, I just have one question. Where is that money going to be coming from for her to be paid $100,000 a year? And I thought that they had a big breakup anyway, right? So why are people emailing me that she's making $100,000 a year? Oh, you guys are using a lot of words here. I'll talk fast. I'll read them fast. Brenda says, saw it with my own eyes. DG says, who would ever advise their young one for a career choice to sell Avon? Think about that. Good point, DG. Good point. Parents planning their children's college education. Oh, maybe someday when they grow up, they could, you know, sign up for an MLM. Although don't bash Avon because Avon's Skin So Soft is really good for mosquitoes. Lee says the second she quit her job knowing damn well she had a huge mortgage for a house that she purchased was the second CW should have gotten the hell out of that relationship. I agree. I see it all says that she just wanted the attention she got around folks because of the kids. That's why long hours at daycare and early bedtimes. Wow, that's too bad. Alexa says, what if there was a fire? How would the children get out? Exactly. Exactly right. There's something not normal about locking your kids in at night. It makes you wonder, were they being locked in their rooms to protect them, maybe? So I don't know if you're still here, Brenda, but if you're still here, who do you think is going to pay for all of that? Do they believe they're going to get a lot of people signing up and paying them? And then from that money, they're going to be able to like rake it in big time or something? Lee says, oh, yes, that's what Lana said. Jamie's Journal is a weekly podcast featuring Jamie. They might have special guests on occasion. Well, I'll tell you something. At this point, the Watts family have many people who believe they're credible and who believe that they're decent, honest, hardworking people who just want to know the truth about what happened. Two things. If Jamie does do a weekly podcast, then gee, validates my gut feeling on the whole situation, doesn't it? Because doesn't it seem kind of weird that right when there were lawyers lining up to help Christopher Watts, that all of a sudden Jamie's friends started saying, oh, we're going to get him a 35C. And they said no to remember that lawyer was pro bono that that detective connected with out in Colorado? Pro bono. And they said no? Really? You see what I'm saying? Right away, within 24 hours. Kim even admitted it in one of her videos that Jamie contacted them, right? So if Jamie's going to be doing a weekly podcast, guess what? I'm going to become the biggest fan of the Ruseks. And I'm going to say, you know what, Ruseks? I had it wrong. I'm going to say, you know what, the Ruseks? To the Ruseks, I'm going to say, you know what? Maybe some of the shit you've been saying about them is actually true. And I was too, I guess, blind to see it. I don't know about you guys, but if they actually try to build an income stream off of the case, then all the stuff that we've been thinking is actually in reverse, isn't it? Brenda says people are assuming it is from the insurance money the R's gave them for the death of Bella and Cece. The R's gave them? Brenda, really? That's not exactly how that works. But are you familiar with that insurance thing at all? Because there isn't enough money. So where's the money coming from? Izzy said, I'd be disappointed. I thought grifting was the R's thing. I'll tell you something seriously. If what Brenda is telling us is actually happening, then, well, number one, I told you guys before, I spoke with Jamie for like 2 minutes and my gut tightened. There was something not right. Based on what Cindy had said prior to that, and the 2 minutes that I spoke with her, there was something not right. And when that whole thing went down where that detective got that lawyer for them, and within 24 hours, Jamie was calling her friends. If she comes out with a podcast, and if they think they're going to be making whatever money off of a nonprofit, then you know what? I seriously will be the first one to apologize to the Ruseks for not believing them. Because when they have said different things against Christopher Watt's family, I've thought, well, that's not okay. Well, you know what? If that's how this all works out to where the Watts are basically positioning themselves to be making an income stream off of the deaths of Bella and Cece, then I will definitely make a very public apology. I mean, I'm not going to call them or anything, but I would definitely make a public apology on YouTube and just say right out to them, you know what? I was wrong. You were right. I'm sorry. Allegedly with Brittany says when CK had Lana on the other day, she asked Lana if Ronnie and Cindy put a lien, LIEN, on their house, and she didn't deny it. You guys, let's remember We know how to use common sense on this channel, okay? So, the investigator who was speaking with Ronnie on a near daily basis connected with a lawyer, a licensed in Colorado appeals lawyer who offered to help Christopher Watts, right? Pro bono. So, within 24 hours, Jamie, then we were told by Kim, was busy contacting them, and poof, they activated the channels that they already had created long before, evidently waiting for that moment. Allegedly says, you called it first, and you were, I think, dead on. Jamie is behind this, and I have seen her preview. I'll tell you, if this is the case, I actually feel even more sorry for Cindy. I wasn't involved with those Facebook groups back in 2018 at all. I don't involve myself with that kind of crap at all. But there was a lot of talk back in late 2018 all about how can we make money? How can we make money? How can we make money? Right? And supposedly they wanted to make money to help Christopher Watts. Okay. But it looks to me like it didn't have anything at all to do with helping Christopher Watts, because if it did, then surely they would have said yes to Mark, the investigator, to the lawyer that he lined up for them who was offering to help them pro bono. Okay. And I've said this right from the time that that shit hit the fan when the circus came to town, that Jamie's connected to this. So I'm sorry. I'll tell you, in fact, I'm not even going to wait. If you guys have seen a preview of Jamie's podcast and what we've seen going on in the last 5 or 6 months, not even that long. Was it like the end of October, November, something in there? December, January, February, March, so 4 months, okay. Remember when Kim first came out? And people like Mark and I were both going like, what the hell? What are they doing? They have a lawyer who is actually offering to help pro bono, and they're instead choosing to stand behind Kim? Really? Okay. And then Cindy confirmed it. She confirmed it. And that's when I stopped talking to her, although I have talked to her since. But my gut feeling day one is what the heck? What the heck? So I'm not even going to wait. Mr. and Mrs. Rusek, not you, Frankie, because Frankie, you've been mean to me. Mr. and Mrs. Rusek, you know what? With what I've learned this morning during this live chat, if this is true, if Jamie has been behind all this circus that came to town right from the start, which I said right from the start she was, in my opinion, if this crap is true, then you know what? I've been wrong. And I'm sorry. Because evidently, what you have been trying to tell us for 2.5 years is actually the truth. Sharon says, is Cindy easily led? That's an interesting question, Sharon. I don't think she's easily led. I think she is somewhat naive. At the same time, I think she's far less naive than she acts. I think that if Jamie was connected with all these people right from the start, I think Cindy's first choice will always be to do whatever Jamie tells her to do. So I think that she would be easily led by her daughter, just my opinion, but I don't think she is as naive as she portrays herself to be. You know, I'm trying to think back to when I first suspected Jamie had something nefarious going on. And it was before, I'm not sure when it was. I'll think of it though. I'll probably, I have a lot of driving to do this afternoon. So I'll probably think of it when I'm driving on the highway. So I can't remember exactly when I first suspected her, but I'll tell you something. One of the attacker channels who is just absolutely over the top, obviously an attacker channel, they had a guest on who was another attacker, another channel creator who is over the top, ridiculously. Just ask Paula. This this other channel creator is just totally offensive, totally weird, right? The two of them were on their live chat going on and on and on, right? Bashing me, bashing Cindy, and Jamie texted them. Okay? Jamie texted them, throwing me under the bus, right? Okay? And I said to Cindy, what the hell is going on? And of course, Cindy, it's always Miss Blinders, right? Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Ooh, right? Well, again, we like to use common sense on this channel. The obvious point that I made was, why did Jamie even have their text number, their phone number? Not only why on earth would she have felt so comfortable to have texted them in the middle of a live chat, right? But why did she have their phone number to begin with? So this doesn't surprise me a bit to hear this, except it still is disturbing, if that makes sense. Because what this tells me is that the Rusaks were actually right all along. And if the Rusaks are right about what they've said about the Watts, what else are they right about? This is incredible. Jay says, is it making money or defending her brother? If she wanted to defend her brother, then why on earth would they have said no to the lawyer who was in position to actually help him legally? They said no. Within 24 hours, Jamie was, according to Kim, contacting her friends, and they were running with this. They had Shannon, they had Kelly, right? They pushed Anna out of the way, right? All of that. And the circus came to town within 24 hours. I'm not saying the ruse are perfect. I'm saying that what they've been saying about the Watts might be true. And like I said, my apology only extends to Mr. and Mrs. Rusek, not to their son, because he's just been downright mean, or whoever is using his profile has just been downright mean to me. If they only knew how many really terrible comments I delete on a daily basis, people bashing them, and I delete them. No matter what they're saying about me, I delete the crap that's being posted about them because I try to keep this channel away from bashing either side of the family. Alexa says they wanted to get their hands on the money with the guys under the guise of helping CW. Jay says it is a court-appointed attorney called a public defender. What are you talking about, Jay? What did I miss in the chat? So where did Brenda go? She got quiet here. Okay, I missed a comment from Lee. Lana has yet to be able to prove and provide the necessary paperwork that they are in fact a nonprofit organization. She doesn't have the correct criteria on the website to defend that. I agree with you, Lee. And remember, the website is .com. Wink, wink. Nonprofits don't have .coms. Oh, Brenda said she's driving. Okay, got it. And Jay responds in caps and is hopefully looking at the road. Oh my goodness. Okay, back up to the, everyone put your common sense hats on, put your common sense cap on, and think about it. Where's the money going to come from? Do you really believe they have enough of a following to support any of them? Brenda says, ha ha ha, I am, with the occasional red light. Kelly says, I'm seriously glad you're opening your eyes. Well, Kelly, right from the start, I've had my eyes open and I've had my mouth open too. But the cool thing about me is I don't mind admitting if I'm wrong. Susie says, day by day, their following is dropping. There, THERE. Uh-oh, Susie's a shiner. Vanessa says it's called Jamie's Journey, and Jamie's going to be doing a podcast every week. Wow. Susie's busted. So what are your thoughts on this, you guys? Think back to the Ruseks, okay? Think back to the Ruseks saying negative things about the Watts. And all of us in the discussion groups, and I'm talking the actual discussion groups, okay? Those of us who actually talk about true crime. I'm not talking about the drama channels or the channel creators who like to make harassing phone calls or the channel creators who like to try to get other channels shut down, okay? I'm talking about the actual true crimers who discuss true crime cases. When the Ruseks were talking negatively about the Watts, what did we do in the true crime case discussion groups? We said, no, the Watts seem credible. The Watts seem hardworking. We think that Shanann was just jealous of Jamie. No, Jamie didn't do anything wrong, right? This could be a pivotal point in the case discussion right here. a pivotal point, and I don't want to give you guys whiplash or anything, but if this is what is going on, then let me tell you something. I have been vocal for 2.5 years about the fact that Jamie was fired from the wedding party. Well, guess what? We'll be taking another look at that situation. We'll be taking another look at a lot of those situations. The nut meltdown, we will be taking a look at it from a different angle. You know, just the other day I said, I think it's important to remember that Christopher Watt's wife was on the phone with her mother right before the nut meltdown, right? She was on the phone with her mother saying, I'm being tag teamed. And I was discounting that, okay? I was discounting that. But what if she was being tag teamed? What if she was? Crystal, I have no idea what you're talking about. Unless you're way, way back in the video, maybe. Sorry, I think you might be way, way back in the video with your comment. I'm looking at your comment going, what is she saying here? The hearts are pretty, but I don't know what you're talking about. Weezer says, how could the Watts partner with Lana? And another question, Weezer, is how long have they been partnered with Lana? How long have they been partnered with Kim, right? Jay says, keeping a low profile seemed to be the classy option. But think about this, Jay. Think about the number of hours that they wasted from people who were actually, and I'll tell you straight up, who there were many of us who actually cared, that they knew that they had a lot of support in the true crime community. They wasted our time if they've been connected to these schemers. And what they've also done is they've discredited themselves in the meantime, because they have had a lot of support in the true crime community. And if they've been planning to rake in money off of the deaths of Bella and Cece all along, then that's offensive, okay? Maybe the ruse are right. Maybe the ruse have been right all along. Maybe we have all been fooled. And like I said, I don't want to give you all whiplash, but if this little plan has been going along for 2.5 years without Jamie or Cindy or Ronnie giving one shit about how many of us on social media have been getting harassed and attacked, well, I'll tell you something right now. It makes me wonder whether or not Jamie and her little team haven't been behind the attacks against those of us who have been getting attacked. Remember, she texted one of the worst attacker channels, texted them during a live chat. How the hell did she even have their phone number? So think about it. Think about it, how on the surface, it pretty much looks like we all know who likes us and who doesn't, who wants us to be able to talk and who doesn't, right? When at the same time, I literally spent hours on the phone talking with Cindy, trying to encourage her that she had a lot of support in the true crime community. Hours, days I'm talking hundreds of hours, okay? And all along, it appears now that they actually had a scheme going. So I wonder who it was who was really behind the attack. Who was it who really didn't want people to be examining this case closely? Right? I agree with you, Izzy. I do think the FR does seem to be the most genuine. Wow, this is just like, wow. Alexa says, Jamie, wolf in sheep's clothing. And you know what? If you haven't read that book, there's a really good book. And if anyone knows the author's name, feel free to put it in the chat because I have no clue. Was it Scott something, I think? I don't know. There is a book called A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. And if you haven't read that book, read it. It definitely fits. Yes, Alexis, Kelly, Shannon, all of them. I'll tell you who it would be interesting to interview would be that Anna who got pushed to the side. You know, and they are all friends of Jamie, right? But let's take a closer look. Let's go back to that nut meltdown. For 2.5 years, right? We've been talking over and over again how she was jealous of Jamie because Jamie dropped the kids off and she was, you know, just trying to be the center of attention and da 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 da. And she called her mom and was complaining and da da da, right? She told her mother, according to her mother, that they were tag teaming her. What the hell were they doing? Okay. So if we look at this from the opposite angle, what were they doing? What were they saying? And let me tell you where this gets personal for me is the shit that I've gone through for 2.5 years. And if Jamie's the one behind it, really? If she's been involved with this entire pack, really? Well, isn't that interesting? No wonder when her mother was going on and on and on that she wanted me to talk to Jamie. She gave me Jamie's phone number. Call her, call her, call her. I want you to talk to her. I want you to talk to her. And then I said, well, have her call me if she wants to talk to me. Oh, I want you to call her. I want you to talk to her. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And I called her, and Jamie sounded really nervous, like really nervous, and even rude in the 2 minutes that we talked. And I realized, huh, Cindy and Jamie don't seem to be on the same page. Interesting. Pixie Doll says plot twist. Major plot twist, Pixie Doll. Major. You missed my apology to Mr. and Mrs. Rusek because I have a feeling, based on what we're being told in this live chat, that we've all been used. And if you guys don't know about gaslighting, read up on it. There's a lot of good information online about it. Because if it's true that Jamie's been a part of the attack pack all along, then you want to know something? If she is that much of a gaslighter, right? Then that actually adds credibility to Christopher. I'm slurring the word to Christopher Watts' wife's claims. Do you see where I'm coming from on that? Lavinia says, shoot, I'm late and lost. Oh, we're all lost. Emma says that Mark's lawyer is not the first one Chris turned down. Was it Chris turning it the lawyers down, or was it his parents? There were two others over the summer, too. And remember, I don't even think Chris ever heard about that lawyer. It was his parents. So are his own parents, is his own family standing in his way of even being heard or telling the truth? You see what I'm saying? Alexis says, George K. Simon, Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, How to Spot Manipulative People. That's the book. George K. Simon is not ringing any bell, though. So let me double check here. Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, because that name doesn't ring any bells. I want to see a picture of the book so that I can tell if it's the right one. Sorry. Well, here, I'll just go to Amazon because I know it's on there. Amazon. Sorry, I don't doubt your research at all. I'm just, that name just doesn't ring any bells, so I just want to double check in case there's another one. Wolf in, because that's a really common phrase. Wolf in sheep's clothing. And I thought his name was Scott anyway, so I guess I am doubting. Okay, let's see. Yep, you're right. That's the book. You are absolutely right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and link it here because I'm not kidding you. You guys have to read this book. You absolutely have to read it. That's your homework for today. Ooh, it's expensive. $11 on Kindle. That's high for Kindle. It's a little paper too. It's a really quick read. But I'll tell you something. It's a very, very good book. So I'm imagining that's why, right? I'm trying to, here we go. Trying to get the link here. StreamYard. Paste. Okay, there's the book. And if it's like, if the price bugs you at all, don't pay for it. You know, if you have the Kindle Unlimited, hopefully, then you won't have to. But otherwise, every library probably has a copy of it. So don't worry about paying money. I just put the link in, Alexis. I remember what the cover looked like, but that name just didn't ring any bells. Sorry about that. It just didn't ring any bells. I thought it was Scott something. What was the name? I think Scott. Let me see here. Why am I thinking Scott? Okay, I know why I'm thinking Scott. It's M. Scott Peck is the book I'm thinking of, and it's called People of the Lie, and it's another very good book. So I was confusing People of the Lie with In Sheep's Clothing. So here's the other book by M. Scott Peck. That's the name I was thinking of. I had the authors confused. The second one is also a very good book and would be very fitting if what we're hearing about the situation with the case of Christopher Watts is actually happening. And let me tell you something. I'm not kidding. This absolutely blows the lid off of this entire last 2.5 years, that it's like suddenly things make sense. Okay, because we've been saying for 2.5 years none of this makes any sense. Why do we keep getting lied to? What the hell? What's going on? And it makes me wonder if things like the whole wedding fiasco, right? Things like the whole nut meltdown, right? Might actually have another explanation. And if so, guess what? We're going to dig in and figure out what that other explanation might be. Because if she's saying to her mother, they're ganging up on me, right? They're tag teaming her. Okay. Could it be that they actually were? Could it be true? And if so, to me, okay, the credibility issue for me, my own personal opinion, has been that I have felt from day one, I have thought from day one of learning about this case that the credible people were Ronnie and Cindy. I never have trusted their daughter, I'll tell you. But that's who I thought was credible. I just thought of when the first time was that I began to go, wait a minute. Because I never ever would have dreamed that Christopher Watson's sister would not have had his best interests in mind, right? But Cindy told me early on that all of a sudden the defense team showed up at her door and told her she had to stay off of social media. They flew all the way there, okay, to tell her to stay off social media. And Cindy said that her daughter knew that they were coming and didn't tell her. And that's when my little gut feeling started going, wait a minute, right? You see what I'm saying? And then there was another time, many months later, Cindy sent me some photos of her and the kids, you know, some family photos. And she sent me a picture of Jamie and Christopher Watt's wife. And I did a video, okay? And I probably was talking about how was Christopher Watt's wife jealous of her sister-in-law or something like that. Or it was probably about the wedding or the bridal party routine or the invitations or whatever, okay? I'm talking seconds later, my phone rang. And it was Cindy telling me that Jamie was so upset because her photo was out there. Well, that photo was already out there. Other people had used it, but she was so upset to have that photo out there on that video. And she told her mother, she called her mother immediately and told her to tell me to take it down. And I'll tell you, it isn't about whether or not she wanted a photo out there that was already out there. What kind of haunted me about that little scenario was that she had seen the video within seconds of it being uploaded. That's kind of weird. Just saying. Kelly says, trust me, Mensa. Sorry, Kelly. I've learned I'm not going to trust anybody on YouTube. Sorry. uh, okay, Kelly says, trust me, Mensa. I'm going to tell you. These little bees are showing themselves. They aren't at all smarter than a fifth grader. Promise these agents already know. Okay, I don't know what you're saying, Kelly. And I don't know, are you new to this channel? Have you been to one of our live chats before? Because we are the bees. We're the bees on board. That's why everybody says BOB all the time. So these little bees are showing themselves. They aren't at all smarter than a fifth grader. Promise these agents already know. Pixie Doll, did she even watch the video? I don't think so because the phone call was within seconds. Jay says, getting notifications of your content. Yes. But boom, as soon as that photo was up there, and keep in mind, it was a photo that was up in other places too, okay? As soon as it was up there, boom, take it down, make her take it down. And then also, she supposedly tells Cindy to stay off social media, just stay off social media. Well, why? Why? What is it she doesn't want her to see? There you go, Susie. BOBs. Jay says, so it was wrong because you did it, but okay for others. And the timing of it is what I found most interesting. Emma says, scroll back to my comments about the lawyers. I replied, okay, but when I scroll, I get like totally behind. And then I will. But if you could say it again, that'd be okay. That'd be easier if you'd say it again. Okay, scrolling. One of the two was a 35C expert who, you know what, Emma, there's no such thing as a 35C expert. I'm sorry. So I don't know who told you that, but there's no such thing as a 35C expert. Vanessa says, I think Jamie is taking over power of attorney for CW. Okay, well, that'll do everyone zero good, you know. If they think that she can make legal decisions for them and everything by simply having a POA, you know, whatever. There was definitely two over the summer. One, Anna had found, aha, that would explain why they pushed Anna to the side then, Emma. Right? That would explain why they got rid of Anna. Boy, this is absolutely not making any sense at all, but beginning to make sense, if that makes sense. Emma says, that's what I was told by Cindy. Well, there you go then, Emma. Sharon says, I'm not bothered about any of the parents. I'll never think Shanann was any good. She abused them babies, and I still think Cindy was better to them than the... Well, here's the thing, Sharon. In the world of credibility, okay? In the world of credibility, I've spent 2.5 years encouraging Cindy that she actually has a lot of support in the true crime community, okay? A lot of people maybe were too afraid to speak, too afraid to discuss the case. And I was always, Susie agrees with you completely, by the way, Sharon, but I was always trying to encourage her that she had a lot of support. And I actually found her to be credible. 4.5 months ago, when that happened, when the investigator found a lawyer and they suddenly shifted gears, I struggled to find them credible, okay? Now with what Brenda brought into the live chat today, the information that Brenda brought in, then basically what that tells me is that I've been wrong. And if we're opening the door to saying I no longer find them to be credible, then what that also opens the door to is remembering what the Roos have said about their lack of credibility. It also opens the door to re-examining the incidents, okay? The wedding, the nut meltdown, those two incidents specifically. Because if we're talking about a woman who can use the Southern drawl to play dumb, right? You see what I mean or no? Then how was that Southern drawl used before the wedding? How was the Southern drawl used with the nut meltdown? Well, you guys, Izzy says, I agree too. SW was no good. Even if snide attacks were being made toward SW, she still manipulated the situation in her favor. I think Nutgate happened because SW was looking for a reason. Okay, but couple of things. It isn't all or nothing. It isn't black or white. It isn't, you know, up or down. It's part of a picture, okay? It's part of a picture that I think is very important to look at. And if you're able to recognize the gaslighting on a bigger scale, then it could very well be that SW was an excellent manipulator. She was a great liar. She was, self-centered and whatever. I'm thinking of another way to say it. You know the whole thing about oil and water, right? When you put two people together who are manipulative, dishonest, and I'm not talking about Christopher Watson, his wife, okay? But if you put two people together who are cut from the same cloth, I'll say, then what you may have is exactly what we see in looking back at this case. And I'm not saying, oh, forget everything. I'm not saying that at all. I think she did lie about what happened with the nut meltdown. I think she did lie about the wedding invitations, okay? But what parts were true? And I'll tell you something. If you're dealing with someone who does have any type of insecurity, if you're dealing with somebody who does have, maybe they're standing on kind of shaky ground already emotionally, and you bring into that a couple of women who are hoping to try to play games with her mind, you see what I'm saying? It doesn't mean it's all or nothing. I'm not saying that suddenly, in my opinion, that the Roos have been elevated to sainthood. I'm opening the door to saying, I'm sorry, because I've been gaslighted too. Because each and every one of us in this live chat has been gaslighted for 2.5 years. If what Brenda is telling us is what pans out here, if this has all been a base to build from for them, not us. I'm talking the groups in the late 2018 who were getting together, right? If this has all been a base for them just to spring from with their money-making scheme, the bottom line is when stuff doesn't make sense, there's a reason. And we're not only digging in for the stuff that didn't make sense about Christopher Watt's wife and her claims, but if this is part of the picture, then no wonder she had a meltdown. No wonder. There was something that was very important to Christopher Watt's wife. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but in my opinion, she needed to be heard. She wanted to be heard. Okay? If she's dealing with a couple of gaslighters, she's not feeling heard, right? She's feeling messed with. Maybe even at a level that she didn't really recognize on the surface. Interesting. I started off today talking to you guys about how somebody's trying to get the channel shut down, be sure that you find Miss Mensa on YouTube, blah, 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 right? I thought for sure I knew exactly who it was who was trying to get the channel shut down based on my day on Monday, getting yelled at for hours about what a piece of shit I am because I'm making money on YouTube and I'm such a, conniving schemer, whatever, evidently techno savvy beyond belief, blah, blah, blah. Hearing this news from Brenda, I'm actually beginning to wonder about that too. And that's what I started to say earlier. All this time, it's like, oh, nobody wants us to discuss the case because nobody wants us to find out the dirty details about Christopher Watt's wife, right? Well, maybe nobody wants us to be discussing the case because there are dirtier details to be finding out about Christopher Watt's sister, maybe. Maybe there's a connection to something, right? I mean, you tell me, did Nicole Brown Simpson's sister ever hang out with anyone that she just met on YouTube? Probably not. Did Lacey Peterson's brother look for friends on YouTube or on Facebook? I doubt it. Right? I guess the bottom line is there's something fishy going on. And I think the Ruseks actually might begin to enjoy watching our live chats from here on out. Because up to this point, I have believed Cindy hook, line, and sinker. Up to this point, I haven't trusted her daughter, but I've believed Cindy hook, line, and sinker. And if Cindy is going to stand by and play the naive little routine, the little, oh, I just don't know what to think routine, well, she has plenty enough to base a more realistic opinion on, right? It makes me wonder if there was sibling rivalry going on big time in that household. Susie is saying Jamie with the oxy. Okay, guys, tell me what you're talking about. See, I've just totally discounted that entire claim. And now I'm sitting here going, huh. Izzy says you did learn to screen share. I am well on my way of being a master hacker. The only thing is I don't even know what a hacker does. I know they think that I have some sort of motive. It's like, yeah, pretty much. Let's all remember why I even started a stupid YouTube channel because there were so many people saying so much crap that I thought I want somebody to be able to actually hear what I think, hear my opinion, and then decide for themselves, whether or not they believe the BS, right, that's being said about me. Then when I removed stuff, the attackers got worse, and I thought, oh, crap. So I went ahead and kept on talking. And then when they got me knocked down, I think it was like 4 months or so before YouTube let me have access again. And that whole time they were worse than before, so now it's kind of a situation where if I don't have a channel, then they get worse. So whatever. Susie said a few weeks ago a channel said they had proof of the oxy. Jay says, we know your motives are good, Miss Mensa. Here's the thing, though. The part I think that's happening with this case is I think that there's just such a huge collection of hateful people and angry people and people who think that fighting is fun or something. And we're supposed to believe, well, that's just YouTube. No, it doesn't have to be that way. Izzy says, is there a previous video of you telling the story about how you first heard of this case or got involved in the discussion? No, I don't know. I mean, there are literally hundreds of videos all over the place. There might be on BitChute. I'm not sure. If you look at the Walter Cronkite video, I think it's called The Way It Is or something. I think it was The Way It Is, because I did a Paul Harvey video too that was the rest of the story or something. Then I talk about how I got into true crime, but I don't know. I also, in the Walter Cronkite one, I talk about how I was a little protester when I was a kid. So yeah, this is a pivotal point right now in the case discussion. And unfortunately, there are idiots working very hard to get this channel taken down. So it's really, really bad timing. But I think, too, let's remember how important the timing has been with so many things that have happened in the last 2.5 years. I'm sorry, but if people are actively trying to get my channel taken down right at the same time that Christopher Watt's sister is announcing it looks like something they've been planning for a long time is about to happen, you know what? I'll say it again. Mr. and Mrs. Rusek, I'm sorry, because for 2.5 years I've been wrong about the Watts. I'm eating a banana. So sorry, I'm going to talk with my mouth full. Vanessa says, they said Jamie and NK were in touch with each other from the get-go, too. Well, isn't that interesting? Yeah, this case discussion just got a hell of a lot more interesting, you guys. Chill Times, I like your name. Says, hey, Miss M. I think you have a heart for children, obviously. I love how immediately you reflected on maybe things were under a cloak of deception. Vanessa says, and that Jamie knew all about NK. Crystal says it's happening all over YouTube. It is happening. There's a lot of fighting, da 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 da. But there doesn't have to be. We can stand up, right? We can stand up against it. We can say no more. This is ridiculous. The first thing you can do is ignore the people who are scumbags. Just ignore them. They're going to get tired of buying their subs and their views and their clicks, right? Dylan says, they say the day of the sentencing that JW was in a back room with NK. Well, now, Here's the thing with gaslighting, you guys. If this is the opposite of what we've been thinking for 2.5 years or what we've been discussing, and I don't want to put it on your shoulders, if this is the opposite of what I've been thinking and what I've been discussing for 2.5 years, then what it is we can look at those videos and say, well, look at that. She said this. Look at that. She said that. Oh my gosh, those poor kids. Okay? Well, Christopher Watts stands there looking like a doofus, right? And I'm not trying to be, I'm just kind of exaggerating here, okay? Well, he stands there going, smiling, kind of goofy for the camera on command, right? And she is the one looking whatever. But he went along on those trips. That mortgage was in his name, right? That's what I'm saying. This is shifting the discussion because The whole premise behind gaslighting is that you make the other one look kind of loony while you stand there and try to look sane, okay? Right? The one who is gaslighting the other is standing there trying to look sane while they're gaslighting the other one to be on shaky ground all the time. And what keeps, coming to my mind is the fact that she said to her mother, they're tag teaming me. Who says that? Who says that? And then she totally lost it, right? And there's something else that's weird. Of course, everything in this case is weird. But when I said to Cindy Watts, why didn't you dial 911? She did her, huh? Huh? Like it never crossed her mind, ever. Even though her daughter-in-law was crying and shaking and yelling and accusing her of attempted murder. And she said she was scared of her. She said she came, what'd she say? Not launching. What's the word? Not barging. What's the word she said? Do you guys remember? She came whatever toward her down the hallway. Right? And she was afraid of her. Well, lunging. She came lunging toward her. Was that the word? She came lunging toward me. Was that what she said? Okay. So she came lunging toward her down the hallway, accusing her of attempted murder. Charging. I think it was charging. Lavina, I think you're right. Yes, it was charging, because lunging didn't resonate with me. So she came charging toward her down the hallway, accusing her of attempted murder. She was afraid of her. She said so in that telephone interview. It wasn't even an interview. It was a conversation. I said, Cindy, were you afraid of her? She said, yes. Right? And you don't dial 911? You have 4 kids standing there hiding? Oh, and Summer Breeze and I are thinking alike right at the same second there. The kids were scared and they hid too. So you're absolutely afraid of this person who is charging toward you, right? And you don't think to call for help? Carla, excuse me, Carla, I'm still eating. Carla says, could it be that his sister is doing the podcast to earn money for a lawyer? Well, I don't know why she would do that when they had one offering to help for free. I wonder if that's the reason they'll give for trying to collect money. But I'll tell you something, I sure hope that whoever is in charge, whatever agency is in charge of monitoring nonprofits, is monitoring any of their nonprofits closely. Rita said you just described most wives' mothers' daily lives. What? Somebody charging toward you down the hallway accusing you of attempted murder, Rita? I know, Cosmic. I know. Yes, you heard me right. And I'm confused right now, too. You heard me right. I think that for 2.5 years, I think that, and again, like I said earlier, it's not all black and white. It's not one way or the other. But I think that I've been falling for the bullshit on the Watts side. So I said, if all this comes out and it's true and I'm going to apologize to the Ruseks. And I thought, heck, why wait? So I already said, Mr. and Mrs. Rusek, I'm sorry, because I actually believed everything that Cindy Watts said. And there is a possibility with what we're hearing from Brenda now. There's a possibility, it seems, that maybe not Cindy, maybe not Ronnie, but in my opinion, their daughter has been connected to a lot of these bad people right from the start. So when I look at all the harassment and all the attacks and all the bullshit that has gone on for 2.5 years. And I think, wow, somebody doesn't want us talking about Christopher Watt's wife, right? I don't think so. I don't think it's all that simple. And I think that through the last 2.5 years, there have been times that the Ruseks have said things that I've thought, oh, that's terrible for them to say that. And I'm standing here right now saying, you know what? Maybe they were right. Maybe we've all been suckered into believing that the Watts are just these nice people, right? And maybe they're not. And like I said, that doesn't mean that the Ruse suddenly are elevated to sainthood. But hey, I don't mind admitting if I'm wrong at all. If what they've been saying about the wedding, if what they've been saying about the nut meltdown, if any part of that is actually the truth, then I am sorry for not having been more open-minded, that possibly the stuff that Cindy's saying or the stuff that Jamie was saying at the time even of those incidents, of never questioning them. I should have been more open-minded and thought, okay, they could be lying every step of the way, right? You see what I mean? It's not all one way or the other. It is a Brenda thing, Brenda, but you're not really Brenda. I don't know the definition of your name. And I'm not sure, is brunette black or no? Because one of the definitions is raven haired. I know I'm always called a brunette, but brunette's where's Danielle when you need her? I think brunette is like a shade lighter than the raven haired. This too shall pass, move on, says, those two had each family side turn on each other. She was the louder side in your face way, and his side was the quieter, get you unexpectedly way. And you just nailed it right there. You just nailed it. There's a saying when I lived not really in the South, but toward the South, and there were a lot of Southerners there. They have a saying that you can say whatever you want as long as you say it with your Southern drawl. I'll just give you an example. Oh my, you got your hair cut. Well, if you like it, oh, it's fine. You see what I mean? And then a couple days later, you go, wait, I think that was an insult. Or something like, oh, you're just so pretty when you wear pink, right? Okay. And a couple days later, you go, like, what, am I ugly when I wear yellow? You know what I'm saying? And I'm being really simple with these examples, but as long as you say something with that Southern drawn out, oh my, then you can pretty much say whatever you want. And then it's like a boomerang, right? It comes around and gets you later. Well, maybe Christopher Watt's wife wasn't very good at that whole Southern drawl insult thing. And maybe she married into a family that was. Oh, gee. I don't like you either. Oh, wait. You didn't say you didn't like me. You said you don't agree with me. Okay. Sorry. But I remember your profile. D says, I agree with nothing you say, but there's something about you I like. Today, I even respect you a little. D hasn't been a nice person. So don't anybody feel sorry for D. Exactly. Crystal gets what I'm saying. Honey, you look great with the extra weight on you. And then, 2 days later, you're going, whoa, wait a minute here. Oh, D says, I've always been nice. Okay, sorry, D. I must have been thinking of a different D. Yeah, okay. Chrissy says the families didn't kill those babies. Someone in that house did on 8/13/2018. Some people were and should be questioned. That's a good example, though, Crystal. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Honey, you look great with extra weight on you, right? And somebody like Christopher Watt's wife would be going, did you hear what your mother said to me? Did you hear what she said? She just called me fat. And he'd be going, no, she didn't. I didn't hear her say you're fat, right? Because he would have grown up in it and not heard the word fat. And he would have been really linear about it and said, she never called you fat. And his wife would be like, yes, she did. Why do you always take her side? She called me fat. And your sister stood right there grinning. You know? I mean, that's how they do it, guys. This too shall pass. Move on, says LOL. Lots of love. Thanks, MM. Smile with slap. Uh oh, nobody's talking now that I offended D. Well, this is really interesting. I mean, this is interesting. And I bet you if I check on my, well, I don't want to do it because I still have the share thing on. When we're done here, I bet when I check my emails, there's probably going to be about 20 emails telling me all about it. I think what we can pretty much surmise from this new information is that once again, we're discovering that with the case of Christopher Watts, the truth is awfully hard to come by. Yes, Izzy, the bless your heart, the bless your heart crowd. Exactly. Well, now bless your heart. And that really means like, you are such a stupid ass, but I'm just going to go ahead and smile and pretend like you're not. Law 822 says, I see future troubles for the Watts and Lana with this quote unquote nonprofit because it looks like an attempt to end run around the Slayer statute Son of Sam law to profit for CW. I see a real problem with them. I see future troubles. I like the way you said that, Law 822. I see future troubles when, they're calling something a nonprofit, but perhaps they're not familiar with the reasons why they shouldn't be doing that. Allegedly says that my Southern impersonation is priceless. Ha ha. Well, bless your heart. I'll tell you, I have an example of one. I'll have to think of how to tell you without telling you too much. I heard this with my own ears. And before she did it, she told the others to watch. Okay. And the others were also Southern belles. Okay. And I kid you not. She said, she patted me on the arm. She patted the others. Watch, watch, watch. Okay. She was wanting to have an audience for this. She said the lady's name with a really long, drawn out, and the lady who she said her name, that lady's friend was sitting to the other side of her. Her friend touched her arm, kind of like, be careful, right? Just by the way the Southern Belle said the lady's name, that lady's friend knew it was trouble, okay? She made sure she had an audience. And then she said, is it true that you've never had a baby? I'll just give you that one line. It got worse. You know, that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the situation with Cindy and Ronnie and Jamie. I don't think that the Roos are the types to take part in the Southern Belle type of behavior, okay? And nothing against Southern Belles, but when I say the Southern Belle type of behavior, we're talking about using the sing-songy to insult, okay? But if you have Christopher Watt's wife, who it sounds like had trouble in school, right? Felt insecure. She posted things that she felt the world was evil, right? So if she had insecurities anyway, okay, and then you had a couple of people doing the Southern Belle routine, you see what I'm saying? It could have very easily led to the wedding issue. It could have very easily led to the nut meltdown. It doesn't mean it's all one way or the other, but it's new information to explore. Allegedly says that she'll email a bunch of stuff. Don't do it allegedly. Thanks, but no thanks. Because I'm not going to get into a position where I'm even looking at any of their crap. Because then I would be in the position of telling you guys what I thought of it. And I'm not going to be doing that. I can tell you what I think of it from the standpoint of what they're trying to pull, but I'm not going to review any legal documents and give my opinion. You get what I'm saying. Crystal says, my daughter was giving her 5-year-old a list of don't say, I don't tell anyone they are fat, they know they are fat. Even if they have a baby on board, t-shirt, do not ask if they are pregnant. I don't know, I think it's kind of cool to let the kids say whatever they want. Just my opinion, but I think it's I think it's kind of cool. Because you know what they say, kids see right through it, don't they? The 5-year-old's probably going like, what? They're probably like, Mom, you worry too much. Aha, Chill Time says, I think the truth about everything is about to be revealed. Luckily, you're onto it. Ooh, the plot thickens, Chill Times. Tell us what you know. Crystal says, honey, she does. She's a pistol. I see. So the mother's really hoping that the next get together isn't totally embarrassing. That's cute, though. Good for her. I hope she never loses that. 4,700, is that the price of the dress, Rita? The interview dress? Allegedly says, I live about 20 minutes from the Watts, and I can tell you the Southern Belle side dig is very real. I remember one time Cindy said to me, is that a picture of you? And it was the little one that I have with my dad. And I said, yeah. She's like, oh, is that you? And I said, yeah. I'm thinking, this is weird. And she said, and who is that in the picture with you? And I'm like, my dad, you know? And I'm just like, huh? It was weird. It's like, I don't get that. Like, it even looks like me. Like, you can tell. It's my cheeks, my chunky cheeks. But it was kind of like, oh, is that a picture of you? Like, no, I just picked a random photo off the internet and just thought I'd say it's me or something. There's something else I'm thinking. out loud here, you guys. When I spoke with Jamie for those 2 minutes because Cindy said she wanted me to talk to Jamie and Jamie wanted to talk to me and all this other, I physically felt like a tightening gut, okay? Like my gut tightened. That's called a gut feeling, okay? Those of us who are older know that like pain in the neck means an actual pain in the neck, if someone's really irritating you kind of thing. Those phrases come from, there's a direct connect, okay? So when my gut tightened, I took it as a sign and I trusted it, okay? And I had already, you know, had a few thoughts about it already. My gut feeling confirmed it for me, right? There's something else. Whenever I talk to Cindy, and I'm I'm old, okay? I'm older than most of you guys. I think Paula and I like are holding up that side of the right, Paula? We're the wise ones here, the old wise ones. So listen to us, listen to grandma. But I don't get headaches. I am not a headache person, ever. I'm not a headache person. The only time that I can really remember ever getting headaches would be when I talked to Cindy Watts on the phone. So what does that tell you? That tells you that my brain was going on overdrive trying to make sense of it all, right? That tells you that my brain was going like, what the hell did I just listen to? You see what I mean? Trying to make sense of it all. And there was no sense of it all. And then sure enough, my headache would go away and I wouldn't have one again until maybe a few weeks, 4 weeks, whatever later. And then, I even had like 3 or 4 times where I got a headache where I would think, well, that's weird. I'm not a headache person, right? And then I'd remember, wait a minute, the last time I talked to her, I got a headache. Paula says, LOL, lots of love, Mensa on a roll, but us oldies are usually right. Seriously, we may not know everything, but we know some things, right, that can only be learned by watching the world that we're in. And if you haven't had decades to watch the world that we're in, then listen to us for Pete's sake. You don't have to do what we say. You don't have to agree with us, but you should at least, be smart enough for yourself to listen. Ooh, Chrissy, you are older than me. Chrissy's old. I'm kidding, Chrissy. We're probably just months apart. Allegedly says, I know MM has been warning about Jamie for a really long time. And you know what? It has not been a popular thing either, because everyone's like, no, not Jamie. And I'm like, mm-hmm, uh-huh, there's something. Chill Times just posted a really sweet comment, and I'm going to go ahead and take my time reading it. Chill Times says, I know you have always wanted justice for the beautiful children in this case. Of course you're going to have compassion for Cindy crying to you. I think your heart has been in the right place. Thank you, Chill Times. You're damn right. And I'll tell you, the same person who has had my heart in the right place can also get very pissed to see a family member connected to a bunch of bad people and literally trying to throw me under the bus, evidently in order to keep their plan going forward, is what it seems like to me. And the sad thing for Cindy is that Cindy actually did have a lot of people who did support her and who did find her to be credible. And if her daughter takes part in this shit and it becomes clear that she has been, then Cindy is the one who loses. If Cindy was not also involved with this bullshit, then she loses. So who is her daughter really hurting with all this shit? I mean, come on. Not only her brother, but also her mother. And where's Ronnie in all this? Hopping on an airplane and going to Colorado for what? Do they really want us to believe, seriously, that some random YouTuber, some random Facebooker with zero credentials, by the way, has hired a lawyer? Is that how that works? Do you think that's how that works? Law 822 just posted that Jamie wants to pretend she's Shanann, in my opinion. And for 2.5 years, we've been saying that Shanann wanted to be like Jamie. I think this is interesting. The more information we learn, it could very well be that we have been a test case for gaslighting on a massive scale. Ooh, good. Stephanie's here. Stephanie says, why are people going after Jamie now? I'm personal friends with Jamie, and it's heartbreaking to hear the attacks on her. Stephanie, have you ever met Jamie in person? That's question number one. I have a couple more. I know allegedly. Same here. I think what we should do is all resolve to basically try to be more open-minded and take a look at the bigger picture. Stephanie says, yes, Jamie doesn't want to be in the spotlight. Oh, really? Yeah, okay. People have no idea what Jamie is going through behind the scenes. Yeah, I believe she's behind the scenes, all right, Stephanie. So, will you answer the question, please? Have you met her in person? Sharon says, I'm so confused. I feel like I have lost something. Well, I think we're all confused, Sharon. We're all confused, and rightly so. But you know what? We can discuss it. We can learn. We can explore. We can share with each other what we think, right? And it'll become less confusing, hopefully. Jay says, is Lana and Alice Cooper the same person? No. Oh, Law thinks that we're beneath her. Bye-bye, Law. She says, I got to get out of here. This is beneath me. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Law. You don't want to hang out with anyone who makes you feel like they're beneath you, for sure. That was cute, though. I like that comment. I don't know what that means, Brenda. I think you're driving again. Okay, Brenda says, yay, Stephanie. Show's lit now. Brenda, I think you should drive. Samantha says, bye-bye, Law. Jay says, did Steph answer? Oh, wait, here's one. Here we go. Stephanie says, I am so disappointed. I have supported you through all of the crap that people have put you through. Now I hear this. What in the world is going on? I just have a question, Stephanie. Is she your friend in person or online? Allegedly says Stephanie, then why is Jamie doing a weekly podcast if she wants to lay low? Good question, allegedly, with Brittany. Chill times. No one is disrespecting Jamie. It's just hard when so much is under a cloak of deception. Jay says, has she met Jamie in real life? Sharon says, shall we go sit in the confused corner? LOL, lots of love. Judy says, beneath them? LOL, lots of love. I know. Stephanie said, because Jamie is allowed to have a voice. Oh, okay, but wait a minute. I thought she wanted to lay low. Behind the scenes is what you said. Sharon says, by law, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Paula says, hugs, Chrissy. I missed what Chrissy said. Is she okay? Stephanie said, I said yes 3 times now. Actually, no, you didn't. But, I mean, really. So, how long have you known her in real life? That's the next question. How long have you known her in real life? Oh, those are the yeses after you said yes 3 times. Got it. So, yes, I've said yes 3 times now, and then yes, and then yes. Got it. Okay. Daisy Days is saying yes to Chrissy. PJ saying hi, all. Allegedly says that's hardly staying out of the spotlight, Stephanie. That's a good point, allegedly. You guys are all making a lot of good points, and you're faster than I am. Stephanie says, I've known the Watts family for over 6 years. The Watts family. So not Jamie for over 6 years? Because I asked the question, how long have you known Jamie in real life? How long have you known Jamie in real life? Scarlett O'Hara, I love your name. I think Shanann didn't fit in as a Southerner. She just doesn't fit the mold. She always made snide remarks about North Carolina and the South in general. Samantha says, don't want to make a cuppa and miss this. LOL, lots of love. Well, I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. This is really confusing, isn't it? Just one more day in Watts Village, right? Where up is down, down is up, in is out is in. We're all just a bunch of dumbasses who are jealous of Christopher Watts' wife and in love with him, right? Jealous of what? We still haven't found out. And not one of us here is in love with him, that's for sure. Just another day. And now we're sitting here waiting to hear the answer. How many years in real life did you know Jamie? And Jay has a question too. Steph, did you know about the podcast? Okay, here's Stephanie. Stephanie says, just because Jamie is doing a private podcast doesn't equate to her being in the spotlight. Being in the spotlight would be her on social media platforms, and she's not. Stephanie, private and podcast don't make sense. That doesn't make sense. I'm not trying to be like negative toward you at all, but private and podcast, like what's a private podcast? Like, is she just gonna have a podcast that she doesn't? I don't know. Like, she's just gonna talk into a, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. So let's think about this too, okay? So let's see. The case of Christopher Watts hits the headlines, and you're some kind of a scumbag, and you want to make some money. So what do? You try to make yourself relevant to one of the families, right? And you say, hey, I'm here to help you, and we're going to, do this, and oh, you should do that, and yeah, whatever, okay? Because I'll tell you something, both sides of the family got contacted by a lot of people. And that's what I used to say to Cindy when she'd say, I don't know who to trust. I would say, if somebody has contacted you, don't trust them. Only trust the people you have contacted, you have chosen to contact, okay? You see what I'm saying? So then 2.5 years later, well, if you're going to have a money-making scheme going on, then you have to have a product, right, to charge for. Wow, become the best buddy of the sister, right? Then maybe she'll do a private podcast for you. Stephanie says, if people want to attack Lana, go ahead. That's cute, Stephanie. But to attack Jamie is ridiculous. I don't think it's ridiculous at all to discuss issues that we see. I don't think anybody's attacking Jamie. I think Jamie has actually stood by and watched her mother get attacked, which has always kind of made me wonder about how that all worked out. Well, she was telling her mother to stay off social media. She sure was on social media a lot. Chilltime says, I love how you immediately are willing to self-reflect. You're no fool. Well, like I said, it's not all or nothing, okay? I am not elevating the ruse to sainthood. However, I do feel bad for not calling this shit out sooner and realizing the part of this case discussion where, like, the nut meltdown is a perfect example. Oh, she lied about this, she lied about that. She was shaking angry, she was terrible, she accused her mother-in-law of this and that. But remember that little piece that I have ignored for 2.5 years, that she told her mother on the phone that she was being tag teamed. Well, in the context of Cindy Watts being just this naive, grieving grandmother, and, the sister who smiles pretty for the camera, but has remained, as Steph said, behind the scenes, right? We're like, well, what on earth did she mean, tag teamed? And we blew it off. But now we can look at that in a different light, can't we? And we can take it a step further, because that's what we do best. We take it a step further and dig in a little deeper, and we say, whoa, 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 back up, everybody. Back up. Because if this is how they're acting now, and if Christopher Watt's wife was insecure or unsure of herself, or had a tough time in high school, or was having a tough time trying to navigate this world, if Christopher Watt's wife had any sort of emotional, mental, personality, whatever issues, which many of us believe she did, and there were a couple of women who were using their Southern charms to try to feel bigger and badder about themselves, right? Then if you examine that dynamic, no wonder Christopher Watt's wife was lying. No wonder. No wonder she was lying. No wonder she was insecure. No wonder she had a meltdown. And it actually makes me wonder about the whole razor blade thing. It makes me wonder about the bowl of nuts that Christopher Watt's wife said that Jamie set out on the counter, right? If you knew that your sister-in-law was over the top weird, claiming all these allergies that you didn't believe existed, and you purposely put some nuts out on the center of the counter just to see what kind of reaction you could get. You see what I'm saying? Samantha says, grr. Got 2 calls at once when Mensa's on. How dare they? Oh my goodness. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, the passive aggressive, Jay. Exactly. The passive aggressive. There's nothing more aggressive than the passive aggressive, let me tell you. So, okay, many of us believe that Christopher Watt's wife did suffer from mental illness, okay? So, what did Jamie and Cindy do about it? Did they enjoy playing with it? You see what I'm saying? Stephanie says it's just mind blowing that a bunch of people who don't personally know the family go on the attack mode, saying Jamie gave Chris drugs when her career doesn't even involve medication. Okay, a couple of things, Stephanie. I have never discussed the whole drug thing because I don't know the details of any of that, and I've just blown that off right from the start. So I don't think you've seen that going on here too much if you've seen it at all. I think probably a couple people have said something. So don't put that on us, okay? Don't put that on us at all. We haven't been talking about that. I've never talked about it from the panel at all, okay? When anyone has brought it up, I've said, yeah, whatever. I don't know about that. So don't try to put that on our shoulders, okay? Number 2, we're not on attack mode, okay? Number 3, guess what? We do personally know the family. So I guess if you want to somehow give me back all the hours that I've spent listening to Cindy Watts, then you'll be able to say that. And I'm not just talking 3 or 4, honey. Well, okay, Stephanie says, I'm not putting it on UMM, I'm speaking in general. But you're putting it on our channel, okay? We're not sitting here with any kind of big oxy, you know, theory at all, and we never have. So whatever. We're also not attacking anybody because if you think we're attacking the Watts, really? So the sky is blue, but only if we have permission to say that? You see how this works? If Jamie is showing behaviors that are disgusting to me, and Jamie is a subject of a true crime case on social media in the case discussion groups, then yes, I'm going to say Jamie's behavior is disgusting to me. Just like I've said for 2.5 years about Christopher Watt's wife's behavior. Gets sassy, Brenda? Gets sassy? That's my default, babe. My ex-husband used to call it spunk. Chill Time says, so ridiculous how Stephanie keeps pretending we're attacking Jamie. Hello. You've always been there for them, dear Lord. The reason I asked Stephanie if she knew them in real life and if she like knew Jamie in real life, she didn't answer that she knew Jamie specifically for however many years. It was the Watts family. I was curious because it sure seems there are a lot of people who are claiming to be Jamie's best friend. And I'm not saying that Steph claimed that at all, but it just seems like a lot of people are. Stephanie says, thank you. I'll never forget the family at the altar when this happened, crying so hard they couldn't even breathe. It was awful. PJ says, I don't think SW had mental illness. She had narcissistic personality disorder. I think she had that too. Carla says, Stephanie, if you know them for 6 years, do you know where the money went? 3 months mortgage. Oh, wait. When Stephanie said she knew the Watts, she meant Christopher Watts? Or did she mean Ronnie and Cindy? I'm confused again. So much confusion in the case from hell. Miss CD says, when you first watch SW's videos, you don't necessarily think abuse, but once you watch all of them and listen to MM, yeah, blame me for it, Miss CD. It's right there in front of us. And Jay says, you're welcome, Steph. Stephanie says, I mean all of the family, including extended family, cousins, aunts, grandmother. Yeah, okay. Sorry, Steph. I'm just sorry because I have so many people telling me that they're so closely connected. I don't know how people can be so closely connected to so many people. And I'm talking literally hundreds of people that are, like I said, not you. You didn't say it, but so many people are claiming to me that they're best friends with Jamie. Chilltime says, I know you've heard Cindy cry for hours on end. I also cried when you interviewed her. Our hearts went out to the family. And if we find out that they actually are behind some kind of money-making scheme, it's going to just really shift, I think, my opinion on whether or not they're credible. Rita said they sued for it. They sued for what, Rita? Chrissy says the W's played no part in the murder. Someone in that house that night did. Paula says, to me, if you're friends of a murdered family, stay off YouTube. It only brings drama. Miss CD says Lana is right about how Chris was denied rights to talk to his family from August to November. No, Lana isn't right. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh. Oh. Okay. Couple of things, you guys. Christopher Watts was how old? 33 years old. They had a television in the house, so my hunch is he probably watched enough television to know about something called Miranda rights, right? Okay, he chose not to call a lawyer. He was arrested, and rightly so. They found the bodies. He was charged, and rightly so. And then, and I don't know what the date was, somebody can look it up if you want and let us know, but I wouldn't waste your time, too much time searching for it. His team of lawyers asked the court to rule that he not speak with anybody, I think it was, except his lawyers. Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that his lawyers asked the court to rule that he not speak to anybody except them? Jay says, is that due process? Is what due process? His lawyer's right to file a motion on his behalf? And then the court's willingness to grant the motion? What part of that isn't due process? Miss CD, he only was allowed to talk to his lawyers for 6 weeks. Okay, we need somebody in this chat to look up that court hearing, okay? And see when the date was on that. I think it was pretty early. I don't know. I can't remember all this crap. Miss CD says it's wrong. His family tried to talk with him to tell him not to take the plea. Well, if there's a court order, right? And you realize when his defense lawyers do something in court, it's actually him doing it in court, right? They are representing him. And in that entire time, did his parents ever hire a lawyer and fight like hell to be able to speak to their son? Did they ever hire a lawyer to try to set aside that ruling on that motion somehow, even though they, snowball's chance, but at least to be heard? Did they ever hire a lawyer to fight for the ability to speak with their son in that time frame? No. What they did is they worried about it, and they waited, and they worried about it, and they waited, and they worried about it, and then they waited, and then Cindy spoke with a reporter hoping that somehow that would get back to her son. Autumn says, yeah, I always thought he asked to not speak to anyone so they wouldn't change his mind. He was doing it his way. Miss CD says, constitutional rights allow phone calls 1 per day. Where did you ever hear that? Where have you ever heard that, Miss CD? Where in the Constitution? Where on earth in the Constitution have you ever read that an inmate is allowed 1 phone call per day? Jay says, I believe you, Steph. Please don't show the pictures. Scrolling. Jay, I don't see what you're... Oh, Stephanie says, do you want me to send pictures of me and the family? I have nothing to gain by being friends with the family. Look at what's being said here. Okay, I have not seen everything that's being said here. So, or what I'm saying, I guess is what you're talking about. Whatever. Busy Mom says, what does any of this got to do with MVP? Oh, you guys, you're too fun. Okay, Mrs. Fluffer, I had a question for you earlier. Brunette or raven-haired? Is raven-haired 1 shade darker than brunette? Or is brunette considered raven-haired? That's a question only you can answer. Mrs. Fluffer says, yep, isn't it odd? Where did the 10,000 go? And you only give a bank check to, Give a bank check to any house closing. That's what they ask for, not even a personal check. Exactly. You don't bring a suitcase full of cash. They want to see a paper trail of where the money came from. I'm scrolling here. That's why I'm quiet. Miss CD said it's wrong. His family tried to talk with him to tell him to not take the plea. Okay, I saw that one, so I'm scrolling back. There's the constitutional rights to a phone call, which don't exist. Jessica makes a good point. Oh, wow. Mrs. Fluffer said that she read that Lana is getting paid $1,000 a week. For what? Exactly. And people are trying to shut down my channel because they think that I'm making money on it. Oh my gosh, the world we live in. What a joke. Miss CD says he didn't even get Cindy's letters for months. Well, actually, it was a letter that she sent to him. Pretty much, I think the general gist of it was to tell him to not take the plea deal. And he got the letter the afternoon after the sentencing hearing. Right, Paula. One phone call, and even then, that's not a constitutional thing. It's one phone call when arrested. Crystal said, I think several family members took second mortgages with the promise of payback from podcasts. Wow. Well, shame on everybody if that's the case. Busy Mom said, what about all the videos of SW abusing Bella and Cece? Are you changing your mind on that? I'm not changing my mind at all, Busy Mom. It's like I said earlier. I don't think you were in the chat yet when I said this. It's like I said earlier. It isn't all or nothing, okay? It looks to me like we're getting more information about this case that's going to really, I think, help us understand a lot of it even more. You know, here's one point to make about your question. For 2.5 years, there have been many of us who have said, why didn't anyone do anything about this? You know, was everybody afraid of her? Was everybody walking on eggshells around her? Well, if you have a couple of relatives who are doing the Southern Charm routine on her and maybe enjoying the show, right? You see what I'm saying? It brings a new dimension to the case discussion, and one which I don't think any of us have ever really considered before. Those of us who are saying, whoa, wait a minute here, about all the lies we've been told. I think many of us, I'm talking for myself at least, never thought for a second that some of what she was saying about the whole tag team thing might have been true. Oh, for Pete's sake, you guys, I've been sitting here going through these comments with my mute thing on. So I'm not going to go back there. But except for Mrs. Fluffer, did you hear what I said or no? Was I muted at that time? I hope you heard what I said. Otherwise, I just went through about 10 comments muted. Just as well. It must be I said something that I didn't want to say or that I shouldn't have said. Autumn says, probably, Paula. My father had a smile on his face in his casket because he was finally, I think, finally rid of his own SW. Oh, finally free. Here it is. Finally free of his own SW. Jay says, when they screw up and tell you the truth. Yes, we would be remiss in our duties as true crimers if we just tried to pretend away this crap. If Christopher Watt's sister is doing a podcast and if they're raking in money, sorry, credibility just flew out the window. Lavina, no matter how it all turns out, we still recognize the kids shouldn't be given Benadryl and Tylenol nightly and locked in their rooms at 6:30 p.m. That's exactly right. Yeah, just because we're finding out some kind of negative crap doesn't mean it makes, and that's what I just said. And I've said it like 4 times so far, so I'll stop saying it after this time. I'm not elevating the ruse to sainthood, okay? But I am beginning to wonder if maybe some of what they've been saying about the Watts might not be true. Might be true. I go by my gut feeling, and my gut feeling on the sister has not been good. Sharon, you haven't lost sound. I just had myself muted while I was talking the whole time. It was, meant to be, evidently. Have you ever done that? If you've ever been writing something and then you realize you didn't save it, and then you go, oh crap, right? But then you think, I was probably meant not to save that. You know what I mean? Start over from scratch. You still have it in your head. Paula says, my daughter is a southern redhead who is very polite, but will tell you off in a heartbeat if you're wrong. Y-O-U-R, LOL, lots of love. I knew you were a shiner. Knew it. Crystal says, there's nothing I need to say or do to son or daughter-in-law that would cost me my grandchildren. I keep my mouth shut. I was young and stupid once, and I know they are not going to be perfect. You keep your mouth shut? That's boring. I'm just giving you a hard time, Crystal. Don't take offense. Leaving Landon. Hey, Leaving Landon says, Jamie reminds me of Markle. I'm wondering if Jamie doesn't remind me of Christopher Watt's wife. But I don't know. This information is so new. I don't know. Oh, Miss CD is digging into the Constitution. MM. The 14th Amendment is the part that states that denying inmates calls is a civil rights violation. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to laugh. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Christopher Watt asked the court. Am I raising my voice? I don't mean to. Christopher Watts asked the court to rule that nobody would be able to speak to him. Dig that up. And if you don't mind, if you could copy and paste what you're taking that from, or what whoever told you, into the chat, that'd be great. Chrissy says, I'd like to delete from the case the growing numbers of irrelevant people. Miss CD says, I know Chris was an idiot to take talk, but you have to see that it was all, no, it wasn't done wrong, Miss CD. It wasn't done wrong. Okay? Dig in and find the hearing. It's on YouTube. Find the hearing when his lawyers asked the court to rule that he wasn't allowed to talk to anyone. Because his parents wanted to talk to him, that's not his problem and it's not the court's problem. That was his parents' problem. And if they wanted to bad enough, then they should have hired a lawyer, and their lawyer should have done whatever the lawyer could have done to try to open up lines of communication. Okay? The court did not make a mistake. by granting the motion that was filed by Christopher Watt's defense team. Chrissy says the whole case procedure was wrong. No, it wasn't. You guys, where are you getting this stuff? Where are you getting this stuff? The whole case procedure was not wrong. Even the investigation was not wrong, okay? It wasn't. You have a guy sitting there saying, yeah, I killed my wife. They don't need beyond a reasonable doubt to arrest him. They need probable cause. He's sitting there saying he killed his wife. They had probable cause. They find the bodies at his job site. So they had probable cause to believe that he killed his kids too. Right? They charged him accordingly. Once you arrest somebody and you have probable cause to believe they're guilty of all these heinous crimes, the investigation changes at that point. They're not going to be running around looking for an intruder. They're not going to be running around looking to see, who might have flown in or who might have flown out or who might be a part of it, okay? Because they have a guy sitting there saying he killed his wife, and then they found the bodies at his job site. So the investigation basically wraps up the case because they've done their job. And they hand it over to the prosecutor at that point. And once they hand that case over to the prosecutor, then if they're running around investigating somebody besides Christopher Watts, and you were Christopher Watts' defense lawyer, what would you do with that information? You would be saying, hey, wait a minute, you must not think my client did it, or you wouldn't be investigating that person, right? So the law enforcement did their job. They collected the information, handed it all over to the prosecutor, and then they were done. Okay? And I say law enforcement because the prosecutor is actually the lead law enforcement officer, right? In any given case. So the prosecutor receives the file. They've got the bad guy behind bars. The prosecutor receives the case. His job isn't to investigate the case. That's law enforcement's job. His job is to take that case, to examine it, to think about how he needs to plan a strategy for trial, right? How not to screw up so that he might get off on a technicality or something, right? His job wasn't to concern himself with who might have flown in or flown out or whether or not who was doing what or when, because they had their guy. His job was to turn that probable cause into beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. So his job was to be ready for trial and to get a conviction. And I'm not sure on this, but I'm thinking it's true. Wasn't it the defense that approached the prosecutor about a plea deal? Either way, it doesn't matter. There was a plea deal on the table. The prosecutor got the convictions, and the case was over. So for all of these people saying that the discovery is missing whatever, what's it missing? What's missing from the discovery? What's supposed to be there that wasn't there? Right? For all the people saying due process wasn't followed, really? At what point? Miss CD says, Jay, he pleaded guilty. Not found guilty. Big difference. There is a big difference, Miss CD, because his chances for post-sentencing relief are even fewer than had a trial gone on, and he maintained his innocence. Jay, the cruel and unusual issue, if it ever was, would have been able to have been brought up on the record when he sat there assuring everybody, including the court, and putting it on the record that he was satisfied with his defense. What? Heart of Alliance says, could it have been an Alford plea? What? Why would it have been an Alford plea? Miss CD says the hole for 6 weeks. Okay, that's according to Christopher Watts, right? That's according to Christopher Watts telling his mom, Mom, they broke me, right? Where do you see that in any court filing? Jay says first appearance conviction is way too rushed, Miss Mensa. And his defense team, who represented him, right, took part. He does have a right to a speedy trial, right? He has a right to not languish in jail while the court dockets are full. His lawyers also would have had the right to have asked for more time. Samantha, there won't be a 35C. Kay Cooper's back and we're still here. And we shouldn't be because we all have things we have to do. And I have to take off shortly. So I should go. I have a little doggy here who needs to go for a nice walk. Jay says his lawyers sucked. I don't think so. I don't. I think he sucked. I think he sucked. And I think if his parents didn't like how it was going, I think they sucked to not get a lawyer. At that time, he had house equity. So there would have been no excuse for them not to go get a lawyer if they weren't happy, right? If he wasn't happy with his lawyers. I think he was happy with his lawyers. You know, this live chat has been really eye-opening, right? Think about this. This opens the door even further for us to look at this case and go, whoa, wait just a minute. And I'll tell you something. And then let's go ahead and close out this live chat on this note, if you guys don't mind, because I've got to start getting stuff done here. If it's true what Brenda shared with us, then I say shame on Ronnie and Cindy and Jamie. Shame on all three of them. Big time. Because if it's true, then I am going to wonder out loud whether or not it might have been true about the invitation list. parts of it, okay? Whether or not it might have been true about the bowl of nuts, the razor blades. I'm telling you, if this is true, not only are they, in my opinion, harming their credibility, but they're opening the door for every part of this case to be re-examined with that new information as being part of how we analyze these cases. Kay Cooper says, I would have gotten my child a lawyer ASAP, on my own, point blank. So, Kay Cooper, you wouldn't have waited for 6 weeks and then called a reporter to say, well, gee, maybe I'll do an interview, and then maybe he'll see it on a television in the jail, and then maybe he won't plead guilty? I think also, it isn't like Ronnie and Cindy were off on vacation somewhere and came back and, went, what the heck just happened? Ronnie was in the room with him, right? Christopher Watts should have thought of the word lawyer, but okay, he didn't. His dad was sitting right there. They even said the word lawyer out loud. And then they never got one? And he sat there and kept talking? Really? Heart of a Lion says, the primary reason an innocent person will use an Alford plea is because he or she lacks the evidence to support the defense, while the defending plea is similar to no contest. Actually, I think the primary reason, and it's kind of sort of the same thing that you're saying, I think, is that the person who may be innocent realizes there is enough evidence to convince a jury that they're not. Yes, Grace, that's what I'm saying. He was right there. He knew the severity of it, and nobody talked lawyers. I mean, they said the word lawyer, but that was as far as it went. So, on that note, everybody, have a great day, a great night, wherever you are in the world, depending on where you are in the world. And yeah, I'm thinking we're going to have some more interesting conversations. But remember, jump over to Miss Mensa. Let me see if I can put the link on here again. I'm going to put the link on here again. Wait, I have to make it light up. Okay, hold on. It doesn't light up. There we go. Copy. Okay, hop on over here. Paste. Grab that link and subscribe, because there are a couple of people right now who are really pissed at me, accusing me of trying to make a bunch of money. And actually, I thought it was them, as I found my little reply to YouTube saying, what? So, just in case, tomorrow, the next day, later tonight, whatever, the next time we start chatting, just in case it doesn't work, then we'll go ahead and head over to the Miss Mensa channel and continue the conversation there. But I got to say this, because of the timing of the bullshit, I figured it was the two who were yelling at me on Monday and accusing me of crap that is absolutely not true. But learning all this crap about Jamie, I'm kind of wondering just who it is. We know of the three main scumbags, right? I'm kind of wondering if they're not directly connected with the Jamie crew, if you think about it. Sharon says, are you coming back on later, Miss M? I'm planning to, Sharon, but it'll be later, and it'll be for a short time, which is why I hopped on early. So definitely click on that link just in case this one doesn't work anymore. And on that note, we'll see y'all soon. I don't know if we'll be on this channel or on the other one, but either way, we'll We'll see you soon. If I can't get the other one to work, then I'll be over on BitChute, BITCHUTE. It's already up. It's BitChute/Miss Mensa. It's been up for, I don't know how long, a long time. Yes, Brenda, we are, but it's going to be later and it's going to be shorter because Miss Mensa has plans. And did you see Mrs. Fluffer's response, Brenda? She said that I'm a, what did you say, Mrs. Fluffer? A level 3, I think? A level 3 brown. Brenda is chastising me for my potty mouth. On that note, everyone, be safe, be healthy, and know that you are loved.